You're watching PTZOptics Live, a 1080p broadcast available exclusively on YouTube Live every Friday, streaming at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Broadcast quality made affordable. Thank you for tuning in.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. We have with us a very special guest, Derral Eves. Derral, how are you today?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So much better to have you on the show this week.
Yeah, seriously.
Thank you.
Very excited to have you. And Tess is doing some last-minute updating of our stuff.
I'm over here working. Just got to keep moving along. Made a couple hiccups before the show.
That's completely fine. Every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, we broadcast here, right here on YouTube, and we've got a YouTube expert that's going to tell us a little bit about the ins and outs, and I've learned so much from his show, so I'm really excited to talk to Derral about what can be done on this platform and how to best use it. Just so you guys know, we are donating to charity every single Friday, so just hit that like button and we will donate an extra $1 up to $250 to our donation, which is the Susquehanna Valley Casa, helping children in need who, let me get over here, who are basically in the court system and need help. And so that's what that is. Also, we wanted to mention that the new Tech NDI is now in the producer kits, which are our turnkey live streaming system. So that's a big announcement coming this week. We wanted to mention that StreamCon is a live streaming event in Atlanta, Georgia that we're sponsoring. And you can use coupon code PTZOptics to get $100 off that show. And we're also going to be attending a show called InfoComm, which is really one of the biggest trade shows in the industry. That is going to be June 14th, and I'm really excited about that. Before we get into it, I wanted to give Gerald here is one of our guests who's actually the host of StreamCon. He's going to give us just a quick rundown of what to expect at StreamCon. Hi, Gerald.
Well, hey, guys. Hey, thanks for having me on, Paul. I appreciate that. So StreamCon's coming up in a few weeks, and as you can see, I ended up having to do this live feed instead of from my nice little studio set up at home, kind of out on the road. But it actually gives me an opportunity to point out something that's unique about StreamCon. It's not a trade show. So, you know, the trade shows have a lot of products and a lot of things that you go and you buy and you play around with. But StreamCon is really designed to be an opportunity for people who are into live streaming to kind of get their hands involved and really ask these questions that they ask in the chat rooms and they ask in things. The big difference is that there are people there that are able to actually work through that process. So, you know, someone from PTZOptics there, and we're going to have 3 PTZOptics cameras that are a part of our regular stuff in addition to whatever they bring with them. So we're going to be setting these things up and talking about real world scenarios. Tom Sinclair from over at Eastern Shore, who does the Streaming Idiot stuff, is going to be there, and he's going to be talking about some of what he does when he's working with churches and setting up productions for his show. Tim and Martin from vMix are going to be there, and they're going to be working through a number of different features of the products. And this is unique because normally you just see these guys in the chat rooms and the video clips that they do as a part of their show. So imagine actually having access to them for a full weekend. So we're going to be talking about the data sources. We're going to be talking about vMix call. We're going to be talking about NDI, but not just talking about it. We're actually going to be setting this stuff up in our meeting space and testing it out and being able to find out how to do the shortcuts and how to do the multi-views and a lot of different things like that. So we're really looking forward to it. And next week, I think I'm going to be back on here and we'll actually get to go into a lot more detail about what all we'll be covering as a part of that show, as a part of that program, rather.
Great. Well, thank you so much for that introduction. Next week, we're going to spend a lot more time on that. Thank you, Derral. Yeah. Gerald. You guys...
The names are a little tongue-tied today for us.
So,
yeah, I'm sure
Derral,
we've been called worse.
Thank you so much, Gerald. And so, Derral, I wanted to ask you, basically, we do a lightning round every week to get to know you before we get into the details of all of the YouTube and the whole agenda. So are you ready for a little lightning round?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Here we go. Coffee or tea?
Neither. I'm a Mormon.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Cool. Mac or PC?
Mac, of course.
YouTube or Facebook?
YouTube.
That was an easy one.
That was an obvious one.
What is your favorite candy?
Everything, as you can see.
Same.
Yeah, well, I have my favorites, but that's fine. What are the other questions? Liz?
If you could go anywhere back in time to a moment in history, where would you go and when?
I know this would seem weird, but I'd probably go watch my own birth.
I said I'd watch my
Wow.
sons. Somebody else wants to go back to
There you go.
childbirth. I'm not the only one.
To see that monumental moment in history here.
Yes. And your favorite movie?
Empire Strikes Back. By
Ooh,
far.
Okay.
Good one.
Star Wars guy.
Cool. So Tess has got all of our slides up and running here.
I
and-
think. How do they
Yeah,
look?
I think you got them. I think
Do I
we're
think
good.
so? Phew.
So let's start with Derral. Just can you give us a little introduction for those out there who may not know who you are?
Yeah, so I actually am consumed with online video, and I have, over the course of my career, generated over 11 billion video views on YouTube, and we just crossed almost 5 billion on Facebook. And so I'm really consumed, obsessed with
Wow.
online video, whether it's audience development or doing crazy ads. That's kind of what I love to do. And I think, too, it's just a medium that I really, really love and enjoy. And I really love the live component, especially what we're doing here right now. So
That is definitely, just saying bye to bye, Gerald. That is definitely one of the topics that I want to talk to you about today, because I think that's kind of changing the landscape a little bit. And you've always been kind of a thought leader here. And I'm interested to hear from you what you think the future holds. Tell us a little bit about your channel and how you got started there.
So I basically been on YouTube since 2005, and I was coming across a little ad on Craigslist, and the ad said, "Hey, if you can get 100 people to sign up to this new platform called YouTube, then we'll give you an iPod that holds 1,000 songs." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm good." My company that I had is internet marketing, so we did a lot of internet marketing back in 2005, and we were able to spam a lot of people, get 100 people to sign up. And I got that iPod. That's kind of where it all started. And then I found, like in 2006, 2007, that these videos that we were actually uploading to YouTube would rank very easily on Google, especially late 2006 when Google purchased them, YouTube. Then it became super easy. And then basically we kind of shifted our model because we were really fighting the algorithm, fighting with Matt Cutts to get our websites ranked. And we found like we had to do hardly anything besides some good titles and meta, just descriptions and so on and so forth, and we could actually rank those videos. And so in 2006, we ranked 865 videos to the front page of Google, and it taught us a lot about how videos could convert, to generate leads. We worked with a lot of doctors, dentists, lawyers, and pest control companies, plumbers, so on and so forth, and I basically got consumed all in with video. And at that time, we just tried to figure out other ways that we could use this medium to get people to take action. And before you know it, we were building audiences. And, to this date, we've helped 11 channels start from nothing and get over 1 million subscribers. And so we have 2 more that's coming up in a couple weeks. And we're really excited about that. And that's kind of our story. So.
Wow. That is so cool.
Oh, you were
really
asking about my
intriguing
channel,
story.
though. I didn't really tell you about my channel, but my channel I got sick of answering questions from my clients about how do you do this on YouTube? How do you do that on YouTube? I'm like, hey, I'm going to basically designate, 30 minutes, 40 minutes a week, and I'm going to make a video on the common questions that my clients would ask me, but also common questions that other people were able to do. And I put it out there, and we were able to grow pretty quick just because there's not a lot of help from YouTube of getting answers for why things happen like this.
Yeah.
And so we've been able to grow pretty decent size. So.
And getting a ton of comments in the chat. People want to know where you're located, and they want to know a little bit about your studio, which happens to be our next question.
Yes, so this is not my studio. I was actually speaking at an event.
You're a busy man.
And yeah, so I was actually speaking at a YouTube event, and we were supposed to fly back, and I was supposed to be in my studio, but no, we missed our flight, and we're just kind of taking it, taking our time now. But I'm in Palm Springs, California right now.
Not too bad.
I'm actually based in Utah, so we're just right outside of Zion National Park is where we're at. And so if you go to my YouTube channel, you're able to see what the studio actually looks like. So at least at one of the studios that we have there.
So you have multiple studios.
Yeah, we do. It's the studio that we have. I have one, actually two sets that are in my main office, and then the other one we have like a green screen setup. Which is really nice for some of the other things that we do.
Cool. Well, we wanted to talk a little bit about your process. And I know a lot of our customers are in the corporate space, and they're looking to kind of add video to their platform or to their marketing. And it's surprising to me sometimes how many people don't even have a YouTube channel still in this day and age. So can you tell us a little bit about your process and maybe give just a couple tips and maybe how people can reach out to you and learn more?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is deciding what you want to use video for. And there's several things you can actually use video to benefit, whether your business, your event, your yourself, in general. So you got to decide, what type of videos would resonate and what type of things that I can use video to actually do. So whether it's lead generation or you're trying to get your message out for your customers, which is a big thing, just kind of customer response and so on and so forth is a pretty big deal. You just kind of decide what that is. And every situation is different. I don't think that you need to do the same thing that other people are doing. I think you just got to look at what would make it unique, what you're able to do, and then look ways to utilize that video. So like with a client that we actually took on in their human resource department, and they're a trucking company, they would actually go through an intake where they get a new employee and they try to bring them up to speed, and it would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars just to be able to work and negotiate and to get everybody through this training that was essential for their company. We came in and says, hey, why don't you actually do a training video and have a series of videos to do it? And they were able to do it, send it to people's iPads, and they could do it remotely, and they can kind of see where they're able to check off. And they saved hundreds of thousands of dollars, that they could put in either their own profits or other things to really help and build that company.
Yeah, the power of video is something that we focus on a lot, and having somebody who's an expert on YouTube for me, was extremely interesting. The algorithms, the things that YouTube's looking for, pleasing like the giant, if you will, and reaping the benefits, which is kind of what I wanted to transition to a little bit, because you have so much great information on it, and I know it's a big topic, but we have it here, YouTube Live versus Facebook. Can we just talk a little bit about the differences?
I think each of them have different benefits. The biggest thing was YouTube actually started with Live first. But they did a horrible job with the live component. They're like, oh, we got a live, you can live stream. But, they didn't really support it. And it was kind of in an awkward stage. Then YouTube, moved on to other things and tried to get other things to happen. And Facebook come along out of nowhere and was able to do this. And I think out of the two, they have different purposes. I think Facebook's really good to engage very quickly with people and have it be really shareable. But as soon as that live stream's done and gone, I mean, the deterioration rate of people seeing it in their feed ever again is next to nothing. And so, to find a way that's more long tail, that's where YouTube comes in. And for me, I'm like, hey, why don't we just do both? Why don't you just do a live stream that's going out to both platforms at the same time, but then just have your core be on one. And if I was to choose the core, it'd be YouTube. And the reason why is because that search engine, YouTube, people are always searching for content in unique ways. And that's one of the things that they're actually looking for, is they can actually discover you, 6 months down the road, where they would never be able to discover that on Facebook the way that the platform's laid out.
Yeah, it's just that's a great synopsis of it. Of course, we don't have a whole lot of time to talk about this today, but that's in the nutshell. That's the biggest truth. The YouTube's going to give you that long-term benefit, but Facebook gives you that short-term, super quick blast out. Just so we get so many views on our Facebook streams. It's crazy.
We did find that.
Well, and two,
it simmered. For sure.
Yeah, but two, it's like, what does Facebook actually consider of you versus YouTube? I mean, basically YouTube, you have to go on and validate that this is actually, you're watching this content over 20, 30 seconds before they actually count that as a view, where
Not
Facebook's
3
like
seconds.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, you swipe up and it's like rolling without sound, and guess what? That's a view. So is it real? Is it apples and apples? No, it's not. I think it's apples and oranges, but from my perspective, it's a lot easier to be shareable with Facebook video than it is YouTube video, because YouTube's doesn't have a lot of power with shareable content, in sense of you're sharing it, but if you go to Facebook as the platform, it kind of shuts down and locks up, and they're not communicating very well with YouTube.
So the next topic I have, Tess is going to go fix something that's just turned off in our studio here, is the YouTube Live API. And we're actually getting a lot of questions about it in the chat, because people are saying, well, how are you bringing in the chat room? This is the live chat room below into the YouTube live stream that we're doing. And this was something
which is cool, by the way. This is cool what you just did. So
thank you, because this is something I wanted to specifically do, because I knew that you were going to be on the show, Derral. And Derral, you're the one who told me about this whole thing. Yeah. So I was like, I have to get this done by the time Derral gets here, and I think I have it working. YouTube has a new API, and Derral, why don't you tell us a little bit about it, because I think you were in like a developer meeting when they actually, you might know more than I do about this new API.
Yeah. So basically with YouTube, there's certain things that I can't discuss because I'm under NDA, because I do work closely with them, but ultimately they wanted to make their API a little bit more open, so that other platforms, other services are able to talk with it. And that was one of the most requested things. Say, hey, we have all these live events, live videos, but yet it's all closed down. And so basically YouTube's just opened up a couple of those features. This is one that they're actually opening up, which makes a lot of sense, especially for to integrate with what we're doing here, where you're able to see the comment and engage with the comment in a unique way, where before, you're just trying to go through and scroll. One of my clients, they actually had 60,000 people on a live stream, and they were getting anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 comments every minute. Wow. And so it's just like, people are just going through it and, leaving their comments, and it's like very difficult to do something like that. But where they open up the API, we can actually go and select based off of key terms and also hashtags or whatever we want to do, and be able to pull these comments into the live stream as well.
Yeah, and if we get a chance in the post show, I'll show you guys exactly how I'm doing it, because I know a lot of people were like, well, YouTube just released it, so really hardly anybody has it built into their platform. So I actually hired a developer to help me pull it in with a WordPress plugin, which should work in the future for any streaming system. So we'll talk about that later. Are there any upcoming events, Derral, that we should know about that you're going to be attending?
I think the next one that's public for everyone is Vidcon. So I'll be speaking there on, growth hacking YouTube, how to get algorithm-driven views, which is a really big thing, because YouTube's algorithm does shift. And the number one source for traffic on YouTube is suggested video. And if you can get your videos to be more suggested, then you're actually going to grow. So
that's a good tip.
I wanted to ask you about that. Do you think StreamCon is a place that PTZOptics should be at from a marketing perspective? Because you can get a booth there.
When you say StreamCon or VidCon?
Or sorry, VidCon. VidCon. We are going to StreamCon.
No, yeah, so I think you were sponsoring it. I thought Derral was expecting money out of this or whatever. But no, I think VidCon is one of those places. I've been there since year one, but it's like one of those places that you need to go because all the people in the industry, especially with YouTube, is there. All the brands, all the creators. It's a very hectic thing because you're going from party to party to lecture to lecture to panel, and there's a lot of things that's there. But the connections, is key. It's like the person that's actually putting this event on, ClamorCon, that I came and spoke at. It's a private YouTube conference, and you had to have 200,000 plus subscribers to even come, and they had 400 people here. I met the founder of this event there, and he's an attorney in the business, working with brands and negotiating those deals with his clients. And so it was one of those things that I would have never met him,
Right.
if I never went to VidCon. And I think those connections are the most important part about business. It's like knowing people in the industry, getting to know them on a deeper level, and then figuring out how you can work together to make this thing work.
Is the exhibit space itself where the like we would be an exhibitor with a booth? Does that get a lot of attention? Do people spend time there and walk through?
I don't know if it's necessarily worth your money at this point, just because it is like there's certain people that don't go into the exhibitor space, and it is a little expensive to be there. But two, I think shifting gears, it's like where they have it. It's in the Anaheim Convention Center. On the third floor is the industry track, and that's where most of the people are at. And then the exhibitors down in the exhibitor space is more for fan interaction. Yeah, they might have this or that for some upcoming creators, but this is more of a fan conference with some industry side of things. And it's just where fans can connect with creators, and it's just chaos. You have thousands and thousands of little, tweenies running around trying to find their favorite creators, and they're like Pied Pipers just walking around, and there's like hordes of little girls and boys just following them, screaming like it was just Christmas Day or something. So
yeah, I can imagine, and that's why maybe I'll have to get some time after the show. We'll talk about how we could get in there. I think it is a really cool event. And last thing, until we go to the post show and just answer questions from the crowd, is do you have any thoughts on where live streaming is headed? Specifically YouTube, I think, is the focus.
Yeah, no, I do. And I've been if you go back and listen to anything that I spoke about 3 years ago, we're at a point where we're able to see a lot of the things that I was saying would happen is now happening. And it's like, where the future is going, it's live video and social, and it's coming together, and that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing that with Periscope. We're seeing that with Facebook Live and other platforms that haven't been announced yet that will be coming. But specifically with YouTube, it's like this is a component to connect with someone on a deeper level, and there's more authenticity because you're not editing this stuff. We're making mistakes, and this is what kind of people are looking for, they're craving for, especially to engage with fans. And so part of new YouTube channels that we're creating, we actually started a new one in March. We have 30,000 subscribers since March, and one of our strategies was that we'd upload content every day. Well, that's not anything unique to YouTube, but two of those uploads wouldn't necessarily be uploads, but they would be live interactions. And those engagements are just critical. And they're able to feel like they're being responded to. They might get responded to in a question, but have them connect with the creator in a live setting is really, really important for creating this culture, this tribe, this community that will come every day to watch what you're doing, and really don't want to miss out on the next time that you go to an event or something. And that's kind of really critical. And I think that live component and that social coming together is going to build some very massive communities. And these leaders that are at the forefront of this are really going to benefit for sure.
Words of wisdom from Derral Eves, everybody. We're going to put a
Absolutely.
link to his YouTube channel
Certainly.
below. I'm going to roll the credits, and stick around, everybody. We're going to do some of that engagement and answer all your questions shortly.
And that's all, folks. We appreciate your participation in the chat room and can't wait to host our next informative Q&A session. Your questions drive the conversation forward for live streaming professionals around the world. Until next time, happy streaming!